Hi there, welcome back to Haunting Vales. This is your host, Noah. Today we are going to talk about haunted, cursed object, the Dybbuk Box. The Dybbuk Box stands as one of the most infamous and chilling haunted objects known in modern paranormal lore, a singular relic that combines documented historical provenance, consistent eyewitness testimony, and deeply rooted spiritual significance within Jewish mysticism. Far from a simple ghost story or a fabricated legend spun by storytellers, the Dybbuk Box offers a rare glimpse into a complex intersection of trauma, folklore, and the supernatural, a tangible vessel that carries with it the weight of centuries-old spiritual beliefs, human suffering, and a malevolent presence that refuses to be ignored. To understand the box and the dark history it embodies, we must first delve deep into the ancient traditions and cultural origins of the term Dybbuk, a word that carries within it centuries of fear, mysticism, and ritual. The term Dybbuk originates from Jewish folklore, referring to a malicious spirit or dislocated soul that has failed to find peace in the afterlife. Unlike common ghostly apparitions, a Dybbuk is believed to be the restless spirit of a deceased person who is compelled, often by unresolved trauma or a curse, to attach itself to the living, to possess a human host, or, in rarer cases, an object. This spirit is not content to linger passively but is driven by a malevolent will, causing psychological and physical harm to those it invades. The notion of spirits becoming trapped or bound to objects is well documented across spiritual traditions worldwide, but the Dybbuk occupies a unique place within the esoteric teachings of Kabbalah, a branch of Jewish mysticism that explores the hidden meanings behind divine creation and the nature of souls. Kabbalah traces its roots back to the 12th and 13th centuries in Europe, evolving through texts such as the Zohar, which describe a vast spiritual hierarchy, realms of angels and demons, and the intricate workings of the soul. Within these mystical frameworks, Dybbuks are feared entities, bound to their hosts through curses or unfinished business, requiring exorcism rituals performed by rabbis versed in ancient prayers, chants, and holy objects. Such exorcisms were complex and delicate affairs aimed at severing the spiritual bond and releasing the trapped soul to its rightful rest. It was also common practice to seal away malevolent spirits within objects, ritual containers designed to hold and isolate these entities, preventing their harmful influence from spreading. The Dybbuk Box is believed to be one such container. Crafted as a wooden wine cabinet or liquor box, its exterior adorned with Hebrew inscriptions and Jewish symbols designed to trap and contain a malevolent spirit. Though its exact origins remain shrouded in mystery, researchers trace the box's lineage back to Eastern European Jewish communities in the early 20th century. Communities marked by deep religious practice, but also by profound suffering, especially during the Holocaust. The trauma experienced by these communities lends a haunting gravity to the box, suggesting that it was sealed not merely as a spiritual precaution, but as a desperate attempt to protect future generations from a dark curse. The story of the Dybbuk Box's emergence into the modern world begins in 2001 when Kevin Mannis, an antique dealer from Portland, Oregon, purchased the box at an estate sale. The sale belonged to a family who had survived the Holocaust and emigrated to America, a lineage that imbued the box with a somber historical context. Mannis was warned by the family not to open the box as it held items of great spiritual danger, and they urged him to leave it sealed. However, Mannis's curiosity and professional interest in the box's craftsmanship and history led him to carefully unlock its rusted locks. What he found inside was a collection of ritual objects. 2 locks of hair tied with cord, a dried rosebud, a wine goblet, a candle holder, a small statue engraved with Hebrew characters, and an ancient coin. These items, while seemingly innocuous on their own, were steeped in symbolic meaning and were consistent with objects used in Kabbalistic rituals designed to bind spirits. Almost immediately after opening the box, Mannis began experiencing disturbing phenomena. Nightmares plagued him, vivid and terrifying, sometimes blurring the line between dreams and waking reality. Unexplained bruises appeared on his body without cause. The box emitted strange odors, a mixture of jasmine and the pungent scent of cat urine, odors that defied explanation and grew stronger over time. The sense of dread that surrounded the box was palpable, a heavy weight pressing on the atmosphere, wherever it was kept. When Mannis entrusted the box to his mother, her health deteriorated rapidly, culminating in a debilitating stroke that shocked the family and intensified fears about the box's power. These early experiences prompted Mannis to attempt to rid himself of the box by listing it for sale on eBay, accompanied by a detailed account of his ordeal. The listing quickly attracted widespread attention, captivating paranormal enthusiasts, skeptics, and collectors worldwide. Over the following years, the box passed through several owners, many of whom reported eerily consistent effects. Electronic devices malfunctioned unpredictably near the box. Nightmares and sleep disturbances were common. Feelings of depression and hopelessness overwhelmed those in contact with it, and physical ailments appeared without medical explanation. Some owners reported seeing shadowy figures lurking in their peripheral vision, hearing strange noises and experiencing terrifying auditory hallucinations. One student owner suffered sudden hair loss and a series of inexplicable illnesses. These recurring accounts contributed to the box's growing reputation as a cursed object. Jason Haxton, curator of the Atlantic Paranormal Society, became the box's next notable owner. A skeptic by nature and a seasoned paranormal investigator, Haxton initially approached the box with a scientific lens, seeking to debunk its mythos. However, within weeks of bringing the box into his possession, he reported headaches, unexplained welts on his skin, and a pervasive sense of despair. Haxton subjected the box to scientific testing, revealing abnormal electromagnetic fields and other phenomena that resisted conventional explanation. Recognizing the box's Jewish origins, Haxton consulted rabbis and experts in Kabbalah who verified that the box's inscriptions and contents matched those used in ancient rituals designed to bind and contain spirits. The cultural trauma and historical significance behind the Dybbuk Box add layers of complexity to its story. It is widely believed that the box was sealed during a time of immense suffering to protect the family from a malevolent Dybbuk that had tormented them. This imbues the box not only with spiritual danger, but also with the collective pain and unresolved trauma of Holocaust survivors. This makes the box a deeply emotional and symbolic artifact, a reminder of the fragility of human existence and the unseen battles fought in the spiritual realm. The Dybbuk Box has gained renewed attention in popular culture, especially after its appearance on paranormal television shows such as Ghost Adventures. Zak Bagans, the show's host, acquired the box and placed it in his haunted museum in Las Vegas. Bagans and his crew reported a host of strange occurrences, including sudden health issues, shadowy apparitions, and electrical failures while near the box. Video footage allegedly captured unexplained movements and distortions around the box, further enhancing its mystique. The box also drew the attention of musician Post Malone, who, after interacting with the box at the museum, experienced a series of improbable, near-fatal incidents, fueling speculation about the box's curse. Skeptics argue that these experiences result from coincidence, psychological suggestion, or deliberate marketing. However, what sets the Dybbuk Box apart is the volume and consistency of real-life reports, the physical evidence collected by investigators, and its well-documented history. Unlike many haunted objects shrouded in unverifiable folklore, the Dybbuk Box's journey is supported by eyewitness testimony, police reports, medical documentation, and scientific inquiry. It stands as a fascinating case study in how belief, trauma, and spiritual tradition can converge into a tangible, terrifying reality. Throughout Jewish tradition, exorcising a dybbuk requires precise rituals performed by rabbis involving prayers, holy objects, and chants designed to sever the spirit's hold. Attempts to perform such rituals on the Dybbuk Box have had temporary success in alleviating its influence, but the malevolent presence appears persistent, resisting permanent containment. This ongoing struggle highlights the enduring power and mystery surrounding the box. The Dybbuk Box is not simply a haunted object, it is a cultural artifact embodying centuries of folklore, human suffering, and spiritual conflict. Visitors to Bagans Museum often report a deep sense of unease, emotional discomfort, and even fear when near the box. Psychics who have attempted contact frequently refuse to continue, citing the overwhelming negative energy. The box remains locked away, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left sealed. As awareness of the Dybbuk Box grows, it continues to attract those drawn to the paranormal. Believers hoping to confront evil, skeptics aiming to debunk, and historians seeking to understand the complex legacy it carries. Whether viewed as a cursed vessel or a psychological phenomenon, the Dybbuk Box remains an unsettling symbol of how the past can haunt the present and how objects can become carriers of spiritual and emotional trauma. As the legend grew, so did the number of those who claimed to have encountered its malevolent influence, each story adding new layers of complexity to the box's dark narrative. But beyond the chilling accounts and paranormal investigations, the Dybbuk Box also invites a deeper reflection on human belief, the power of folklore, and the way cultural memory can embed itself within physical artifacts, turning them into vessels of both history and horror. Following its transfer to Zak Bagans and the Haunted Museum, the Dybbuk Box's notoriety exploded, reaching audiences worldwide through television and online media. Bagans, a figure both respected and controversial in paranormal circles, embraced the box's dark reputation, showcasing it as one of the museum's centerpiece exhibits. Visitors often describe an immediate, inexplicable sense of dread upon entering the room housing the box. It is said that the temperature dips noticeably, even in the sweltering heat of Las Vegas, and some have reported faint whispers or fleeting shadows darting just beyond clear sight. Staff working near the box speak in hushed tones of sudden headaches, unexplained nausea, and even emotional breakdowns, experiences that seem to transcend simple superstition. One particularly harrowing account comes from a museum employee who, after spending extended time cataloguing the box, began suffering from terrifying nightmares. In these dreams, she was chased through dark hallways by an unseen force, her cries muffled by an overwhelming silence. Upon waking, she found deep scratch marks on her arms, injuries she could neither remember inflicting nor explain. These marks bore a strange resemblance to Hebrew letters, though none of the experts could decipher them clearly. After consulting with a rabbi familiar with Dybbuk law, the employee was advised to avoid direct contact with the box and to participate in cleansing rituals, which reportedly brought only temporary relief. Stories like these raise questions about the nature of the Dybbuk Box's power. Is it truly a supernatural force, a curse that transcends time and space, or is it an extraordinary manifestation of collective trauma amplified by belief and fear? Psychologists suggest that phenomena associated with the box may be linked to the power of suggestion and the human mind's capacity to manifest physical symptoms in response to stress or expectation, a phenomenon known as psychogenic illness or mass hysteria in group settings. However, the volume and consistency of reported effects combined with physical evidence such as unexplained bruising and electromagnetic anomalies recorded by investigators challenge purely rational explanations. Delving deeper into the box's provenance reveals troubling historical roots. Research indicates that the box likely originated in Eastern Europe during the early 1900s, a time and place where Jewish communities faced both persecution and the devastating impact of modernity disrupting traditional ways of life. These communities practiced intricate rituals rooted in Kabbalah and folk magic, often blending spiritual belief with pragmatic attempts to ward off evil influences. The Dybbuk Box, in this context, may have been created as a desperate measure, a physical repository for a restless, malevolent spirit whose presence could no longer be contained within a living person. Historical records from Jewish archives tell of similar cases where families, desperate to protect themselves from possession or spiritual harm, would lock away objects associated with the Dybbuk or the possessed individual. These objects were typically sealed with prayers and blessings, often buried or hidden in locations considered spiritually potent. The Dybbuk Box's inscriptions and contents fit this pattern closely, suggesting it was part of an old tradition designed to trap and isolate a harmful force. The fact that this box survived decades of upheaval, war, and migration only adds to its mystique. An important figure in the box's modern legend is Kevin Mannis, whose first-hand accounts sparked the initial wave of public interest. Mannis's experiences, meticulously documented in his eBay listing and subsequent interviews, provide a detailed narrative of escalating paranormal events, from eerie noises and shadowy figures to sudden illnesses and emotional turmoil affecting him and his family. His story resonates because it comes from a man initially skeptical, a dealer with no previous ties to the paranormal, who was quickly overwhelmed by events he could not explain. Mannis's attempts to rid himself of the box repeatedly failed, with subsequent owners encountering similar fates, reinforcing the idea that the box's influence transcends any single individual. One of the most chilling episodes in the Dybbuk Box saga involves a family who purchased the box after Mannis. Soon after bringing it into their home, they reported disturbing changes. Children woke screaming in the night, pets behaved erratically, and the family dog refused to enter the room containing the box. One family member developed sudden, unexplained medical conditions, while another described feeling watched constantly by an unseen presence. The family sought help from religious figures, paranormal investigators, and medical professionals, but relief was temporary, and the box was eventually returned to a paranormal researcher under conditions of secrecy. This secrecy, common in many stories surrounding cursed objects, adds to the box's enigmatic reputation. Owners often speak of a fear so intense they choose to remain anonymous, or of a reluctance to speak publicly for fear of public backlash or worsening the curse. Such silence has helped the Dybbuk Box attain mythic status, as whispered warnings circulate in paranormal communities about the dangers of direct contact. To understand the Dybbuk Box fully, one must also consider the role of the rabbis and spiritual authorities who have interacted with it. In Jewish tradition, confronting a Dybbuk requires profound spiritual knowledge and ritual precision. Rabbis who have examined the box confirm the presence of Hebrew inscriptions linked to binding spells, as well as ritual objects traditionally used in exorcisms. Some have attempted blessings and rituals aimed at neutralizing the box's negative energy, often performed in controlled environments designed to contain spiritual forces. These rituals sometimes temporarily alleviate symptoms experienced by those near the box, but fail to fully cleanse the object, which continues to radiate a dark energy. Beyond the religious and paranormal, the Dybbuk Box raises intriguing questions. about the nature of belief and the human relationship with fear. Anthropologists and folklorists see objects like the box as physical manifestations of collective anxiety, repositories for the unspoken traumas and fears of entire communities. In this view, the box is not just haunted by a malevolent spirit, but also by the memory of persecution, loss, and cultural survival. It is a symbol of how history, mythology, and personal experience intertwine to create powerful narratives that endure across generations. The Dybbuk Box's influence has extended beyond private collections and paranormal investigations into broader pop culture. It has inspired films, documentaries, and countless online stories that further mystify the object. Some creators use the box as a metaphor for uncontrollable evil, while others explore its psychological implications, portraying it as a vessel of human darkness rather than supernatural malevolence. Regardless of interpretation, the Dybbuk Box captivates imaginations because it embodies a universal theme: the fear that something unseen can infiltrate our lives, twist our realities, and bind us to forces beyond our control. One cannot overlook the scientific investigations conducted on the box, which add another layer to its story. Electromagnetic field meters have detected spikes in readings near the box, a phenomenon often associated with paranormal activity, though skeptics argue such readings may be explained by mundane electronic interference. Thermal cameras have recorded unexplained cold spots, and some researchers report a sense of disorientation or vertigo when near the box. These physical manifestations, combined with psychological and spiritual accounts, make the Dybbuk Box a unique case that defies simple categorization. The Dybbuk Box is also a cautionary tale about human curiosity and the dangers of disturbing the unknown. Many who first encounter the box are intrigued by its history and mystique, but few escape its influence unscathed. The box's story reminds us that some objects carry the weight of human experience so deeply that their impact transcends the physical realm. It challenges the boundary between reality and superstition, inviting each observer to confront their beliefs about the unseen. As the box continues to be studied and exhibited, its legacy grows. It serves as a somber reminder of the power of ancient beliefs in the modern world and the way cultural trauma can echo through time. Whether one views the Dybbuk Box as a cursed vessel, a spiritual prison, or a powerful symbol, it undeniably holds a place in the pantheon of haunted objects. A mysterious, unsettling artifact that confronts us with the enduring mystery of the soul and the shadowy forces that may lie beyond. The Dybbuk Box embodies not just a physical object, but a vessel for the unknown, something that reaches beyond the realm of ordinary experience and forces us to question the boundaries between the material world and the spiritual. It stands at the crossroads of folklore, religion, psychology, and the paranormal, capturing the imagination of those who dare to explore its dark history. In Jewish mysticism, the Dybbuk is a restless spirit, often the soul of a dead person, who refuses to leave the world of the living. Unlike malevolent demons found in other traditions, the Dybbuk is more complex. It is both a victim and a tormentor, a lost soul seeking release but causing havoc in the process. The very concept of a Dybbuk speaks to a profound cultural anxiety about death, the afterlife, and the persistence of memory. The Dybbuk Box, therefore, is not merely haunted, it is a physical representation of these fears and hopes intertwined. The box itself is unassuming, crafted from dark wood, with weathered edges and an aged, almost brittle appearance that speaks to decades, if not centuries, of history. It bears strange inscriptions in Hebrew, some of which appear to be prayers, others warnings or seals designed to contain whatever force lies within. Alongside the inscriptions are small, arcane symbols, their meaning lost or known only to those initiated in ancient rites. These markings alone suggest the box was once a carefully guarded talisman created to imprison something powerful and dangerous. When one considers the power attributed to this small container, it is astonishing how objects like these serve as focal points for human storytelling and belief. The Dybbuk Box captures a universal human experience, the fear that the past can come alive to disrupt the present, that the dead do not rest quietly, and that some forces evade understanding. The stories attached to it reinforce this, evolving over time and passed down with increasing detail and dread, each retelling adding its own flavor of horror. Beyond the lore, the physical effects reported by those who came into contact with the box have perplexed researchers. Some speak of sudden headaches and nausea. Others describe electrical appliances malfunctioning inexplicably when near the box. One paranormal investigator recounted how his camera battery drained unusually fast, despite being fully charged before the session. Another described a sensation of being watched, a feeling so intense it bordered on paranoia. The consistency of these reports across different individuals and locations adds weight to the idea that the Dybbuk Box exerts an influence that is not purely psychological. This blend of the spiritual and the scientific has fascinated and divided experts. Skeptics argue that the box's effects stem from suggestion and confirmation bias, fueled by the sensational stories that surround it. They note that when belief wanes, so do the reported phenomena. Yet even skeptics must admit that the Dybbuk Box remains one of the most studied haunted objects in contemporary paranormal research. The number of documented incidents combined with the physical evidence collected makes it a unique subject for interdisciplinary study. The cultural journey of the Dybbuk Box reflects the migration of folklore into modern media. What began as a localized myth tied to Eastern European Jewish communities has become a global symbol of haunted objects and curses. This transformation has been accelerated by television shows, YouTube documentaries, podcasts, and horror films, all of which have amplified the box's legend to an audience that spans continents and cultures. Each retelling reshapes the story, sometimes emphasizing horror, other times the psychological or historical elements, but always reinforcing the box's sinister reputation. In examining the Dybbuk Box, one must also consider the human stories entangled with it. Beyond Kevin Mannis and the museum staff, countless unnamed individuals have encountered the box and been profoundly affected. These encounters often involve family tragedies, unexplained illnesses, and emotional distress, painting a picture of the box as a catalyst for suffering. For many, it becomes a symbol of the fragile boundary between the mundane and the supernatural, where ordinary life is shattered by forces that defy comprehension. Religious authorities continue to grapple with the box's significance. Some rabbis view it as a dangerous artifact that should remain sealed and untouched, while others see it as an opportunity to educate about Jewish spiritual traditions and the importance of ritual purity. Attempts to perform exorcisms or cleansing rites on the box have met with mixed results, sometimes providing temporary relief but never fully neutralizing its power. These spiritual confrontations underscore the complex relationship between belief, ritual, and the unseen world. The Dybbuk Box also raises broader philosophical questions. What does it mean for an object to be cursed or haunted? Is the power of the box inherent, or is it granted by the collective belief of those who fear it? How do stories of possession and evil spirits reflect our deepest anxieties about death, loss, and the unknown? The box forces us to confront these questions, offering no easy answers but inviting deep reflection on the nature of fear and faith. As the box remains a centerpiece of the Haunted Museum, it continues to attract curiosity. Seekers and paranormal enthusiasts. Visitors approach it with a mixture of skepticism and awe, often recording their own encounters, some of which go viral online. This digital age of storytelling ensures that the Dybbuk Box's legend will continue to evolve, shaped by new experiences and interpretations. It is a reminder that folklore is living, not static, adapting to new contexts while retaining its core power. In the end, the Dybbuk Box stands as a testament to humanity's enduring fascination with the unknown. It embodies the tension between skepticism and belief, science and superstition, history and myth. Whether one views it as a cursed object, a spiritual prison, or a psychological trigger, its story is a haunting exploration of the mysteries that linger at the edges of our understanding, compelling us to question what lies beyond the visible world. If this story has caught your attention, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into real paranormal mysteries. Share your thoughts or any strange experiences you've had in the comments. We want to hear from you. And remember, some objects hold more than just memories. They carry the weight of history and the unknown. Stay curious, stay safe, and always respect the unseen. Catch you in the next video.